Hello, chaps, back with another video. So this week, a little bit different than last week. Still doing a voiceover here, obviously, but last week was all back training and I didn't talk about training at all. This week is kind of a highlight reel of things I did during the week. So there's just random exercises in here. I think we have a dumbbell press in here, a Smith press, some RDLs, just all kinds of stuff in here. Starting it off with calves. So I get a lot of questions regarding calves, and it's always questions about like what rep range should I be training my calves in, how many sets should I be doing for calves, how many times a week should I be doing calves. This is the first mistake, okay? Because I know when you're asking those questions, you don't train calves, okay? If you want big calves, or you want developed calves, or you want to develop them more than you have right now and eventually maybe get big calves down the line, the bottom line is you have to train them. It doesn't matter what rep range you're doing, how many sets you're doing, what's the frequency, what's the volume. None of that stuff matters when you don't train them. And that's the biggest thing. Guys with shitty calves, they never train calves, and then they ask all those questions about how should I be training calves. Well, it doesn't matter because you don't train them. So the first step is training them. The first step to admitting, or the first step to acknowledging you have a problem or whatever, is like saying you have a problem. It's kind of like that. So don't ask about those type of nuanced questions or anything like that when you don't even train them in the first place. So if your goal is to improve your calves or to get big calves at some time in your life, and you're not genetically gifted to just have those, you have to train them, and it doesn't matter how you train them. Just train them brutally hard, use a lot of intensity, and every time they're not sore, train them again. And just take that approach for 10 years and you'll have a set of calves. After that, what are we doing? We're doing dumbbell press here. So I changed the way that I press. I used to press a lot. I don't want to say ballistically, but I used to press more in a powerlifting style. The tempo was quicker. I would have a much bigger arch than I have here. And because my arch was bigger, my torso was also way farther from neutral, and I'd pin my shoulders back way farther. So I changed all those things up because I'm really trying to improve my chest this off season here. So I've pressed way heavier dumbbells before, but with this form and this control, I would say this is like PRs for me. I think these are like the 120s. I think I did a set of 9, 8, and 8, or 9, 8, and 7. I don't know, something around that. But I'm getting way more of a contraction in my chest. I feel like I'm getting way more out of these dumbbells than I have in the past. And I did the same thing for my Smith press as well, which you'll see later on in this video. I'm also on the Smith press, you'll be able to tell like I'm avoiding lockout as well. So that's another thing I changed. I changed numerous things about my pressing, and I really feel like I'm getting a lot more out of it. So as I go through the off season, I think it will manifest itself by the end with an improved chest by a long shot. So looking forward to that there. Yeah, training's boring. So what's not boring is Marvel Rivals Season 3 just dropped. It is, what is it? It's like the Clintar theme, or symbiote theme, whatever you want to call it. And man, I've been having a lot of fun on it right now. Season 2.5, not my favorite. I actually didn't play any ranked in season 2.5 because of the meta. It was a flyer meta, and there were also a couple other characters that were just annoyingly overpowered. and it just wasn't fun. So I just didn't play any ranked. I think what I found in gaming nowadays is that it seems like people don't understand that you can just not play the game when it's not in a great state. And all I see now is people still putting in the same amount of hours when they don't like the game and just bitching and complaining and moaning about it online. And it's like, man, if you don't like the game, you don't have to play it. Like, it's not mandatory. You can play another game or you can do something else. But yeah, so I didn't play season 2.5 of Ranked for those reasons. Now, season 3, Jean Grey dropped as well, and she is one of my favorite X-Men of all time. If anybody here knows about X-Men, you would know about Jean Grey, Omega level mutant, and her powers are, like when people ask you those questions of, oh, if you could have a superpower, what superpower would it be? Like, I would be Jean Grey all day, man. Those powers are so fucking OP, man. So Jean Grey is sick. Yeah, they dropped her in season 3. I don't think she's overpowered in the game. She's very good, but I think she is going to be a situational character. My main character in Marvel Rivals is Wolverine. He's my favorite X-Men of all time, and maybe my favorite superhero of all time. I don't know. There's a couple that I debate back and forth about which superhero is my favorite of all time, but Wolverine's definitely fighting for that top spot. Now, unfortunately, in a game like Rivals, there's certain characters that when they are too good will get banned. So when you're playing ranked play, there's a system where you can ban certain characters out so that people can't play them. Wolverine being my main, he got a buff this season in season 3, and it's like an insane buff that makes him just, honestly, it just makes him way too good. Like, it's super fun to play him because he's so OP right now, but that's where it's like an unfortunate situation because he is so good. I'll never be able to play him in ranked this season because he's going to get insta banned every single game. So on one aspect, it's dope that they buffed him to the point of, like, you play him and you actually feel like you're unkillable. You're just going in there and just railing the other team. However, once you play ranked, you're never going to get to do that because he's going to get banned. He's just way too good right now. So it's like, I was super excited with the buff. I've been playing quick play with the buff and was having a ton of fun. But then, yeah, I just came to realize, I'm like, man, as soon as I hop into ranked here, I'm not going to get to play this guy. Like, I'm going to go the whole season without playing him. But there's a lot of other characters that I enjoy playing in the game too that aren't on that level. They're like good characters or decent characters, so they never get banned unless I'm getting target banned or something along those lines. So yeah, I'll still have fun playing all them. And like I said, the season 3 meta way better than the season 2.5 meta with all the buffs and nerfs. So I'll definitely be playing a lot of Rivals. If you guys are into gaming at all, I'm going to be streaming probably a decent bit whenever I have some free time to do so. So there's going to be a link in the description if you guys are into gaming, into watching streams. Come in there, chill, ask bodybuilding questions or lifting questions or gaming questions or just whatever. But yeah, I'll put that link in the description below. I'm doing some bicep curls here. So I talked about this on my Instagram story actually, that I think I have some unorthodox views in bodybuilding. I have a lot of unorthodox views in bodybuilding actually. And probably a lot of people would call them, bro science views or, meathead views, thoughts, whatever. Doesn't matter. But one of them is connecting visually with the muscle that you are working, and physically with the muscle you are working. So I don't have very good biceps. I've never had a very good connection with them either. Like when I work them out, I don't specifically get like a crazy pump or anything like that. No matter what I do, really, no matter what the volume is, what the weight is, what the sets, reps, all that kind of stuff is. Whereas like my quads or my chest, I've always had that. Well, not always, but I have a really good connection with those muscles. And I've found anecdotally, people that have really good connections with their muscles, those are usually the strongest muscles on their physique. And I don't mean weight-wise, I mean development-wise. Those are usually the most developed parts of their physique. And they're almost always the front part, right? You rarely, I've never actually seen somebody with a stronger posterior chain than the front of their body. And it's almost always that somebody's front is way more developed than their posterior chain. And I personally think one of the big reasons behind this, which nobody ever talks about, is the fact that you can't see your posterior chain. You can't see your back when you're working it. You can't see your hamstrings or your glutes when you're working them. So as weird as this sounds, I think if there was a setup where you could have a mirror to watch your back work while you were working it, or watch your hamstrings work while you were working it, you would see across the board guys with way better hamstrings, guys with way better backs, and I think it would be much less common to see those muscle groups underdeveloped. So going back to my point about biceps, you'll see there, I rolled up my sleeves. I never roll up my sleeves in the gym. But I'm doing that because I have noticed when I look at my biceps while I am curling, way better connection, way better pump, way better contraction, way better stimulus. Same thing if I look at it and I'm physically touching it with my other hand. Again, the contraction, the stimulus, everything is just so much better. So I'm going to continue doing that in this off season. And as dumb as it sounds, I really do think that is going to help me improve my arms a lot. So, stay tuned for that experiment, but that's kind of my unorthodox views on that. What are these RDLs? Honestly, not that happy with my form here, and not my back position. The back position is fine. What I mean is there's just a little too much bend in the knees here. I'm just trying to get, and I do this a lot, where I try to get more depth than is really necessary for the RDL. The hamstrings are already fully extended, and then I try to go down a little bit further. And then in order to do that and keep my back in a good position, I have to bend the knees a little bit. So it's kind of just wasted movement. It's not wasted movement because it's still working my erectors and things like that. But for what I'm trying to target, which is specifically my hamstrings and glutes there, I could probably cut the range of motion a little bit more, which would allow me to keep my hips a little bit higher. It would allow me to keep my knees slightly straighter as well, and just kind of get a little bit more out of the exercise that way. So that is something I have to clean up. I might lower the weight next time I go in there just to kind of practice that. What are we doing? Adductors here. Yeah, nothing special about these. So what should I talk about? Talk about more games. I forgot to mention in the last video when I was reminiscing on all those games that were milestones in my life. Yo, PUBG. I don't know how I forgot about PUBG. The first Battle Royale, I remember I was on Xbox for the longest time, and Man, I wanted to play PUBG so bad. I see people playing PUBG. I see people streaming PUBG. All my buddies were on PUBG, playing it, talking about it, and I'm just sitting there like the odd man out, like, yeah, sick, bro. Like, I can't comment on anything. Like, they're talking about all the games they played last night. I'm just sitting there like, damn, sounds sick. Wish I could. So I eventually I built a PC. My buddy Nate helped me build it, and oh my god, when I got on PUBG, it was so addicting and so fun, man. The battle royale concept was brand new at that point, which was crazy because the genre of shooter games had been the same for a really long time. It was basically like arena shooters and I don't know, it's like single player game type stuff. So having something come into the genre completely unique like that was just crazy. And the whole concept to me was crazy. It was like Hunger Games with guns, right? They just drop you in this huge world with nothing, and you have to go around looting for like medical supplies. You have to go get your guns. You have to get your ammo, all your attachments. Man, it was so sick. And then on top of that, the gunplay was the best I've ever played, and still to this day, the gunplay in PUBG is better than any game I've ever experienced. It's so well done. It's just a shame that the game is so unoptimized, and that now the player base is pretty much non-existent, at least in NA. In Korea and in Europe, the game is still pretty alive and doing well, but out here in the US, it takes forever to fill lobbies, and then the lobbies are filled with bots half the time. And I'm not talking about bad player bots, I'm talking about actual bots, which kind of ruins the experience of the battle royale feel. But yeah, I forgot to mention PUBG last time when I was talking about games, and man, that game is so sick, and I still play it to this day. I'm nowhere near as good as I used to be because I don't play it that much, but every once in a while I'll hop on and be like, man, you just reminisce as you're playing, like, this game is so sick, it used to be like blah blah blah, and playing with your buddies, and it's just a good time to reminisce. This is the Smith press that I was talking about, how I kind of changed up my form a little bit so you can see what I'm talking about here. We're coming up on the end of the video right now, so what do I want to say? Oh yeah, the stuff in the description. I kind of always forget to mention this, but there is links to my Discord if you guys want to join that. It's all things like training, so you can feel free to ask training questions, nutrition questions, physique critiques, all that kind of stuff. Join the Discord. Trying to grow that community there. There is a link to the gaming YouTube channel, and then there is also not a link, but my coaching. You can find the email address for that. So if you are interested in coaching, you can shoot me an email to that email address there, and we can get started with a consultation, or I can send you a PDF of how it works and all that kind of good stuff. So all those links will be in the description. As always, guys, I appreciate your support. It really means a lot to me. Video's about to end here, so I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.